Bootcamp today. So myself, Devi Kumari Krishna. I'm working in Robert Bosch as a solution architect. Overall, I have 17 years of industry experience. So, these are my handles. Let us quickly get connected through, LinkedIn, or you can directly email me at the ID. Today, I'll be covering the basic steps of Canvas app, what all data sources we will be, adding to the Canvas app, and how do we, trigger Power Automate from Canvas apps. So most of the areas is going to be demo. But before directly jumping to the demo, I would, talk about few basic points of the Canvas app here. So why do we go for Canvas app? We have portals, model-driven apps. We have, the custom application developments. So what exactly is the Canvas app? Canvas app is nothing but it is a 2D app where we can design and build business applications very fast without the traditional way of coding. So here, it is as easy as anyone can do. If you just know Excel and PowerPoint, that is what Microsoft says that then you're ready to, start working on Canvas app. It is as simple as that. So they don't, expect that you come with a prior knowledge. They help you to develop apps by providing a number of sample apps, basic templates, or even, they provide you, they help you to, create apps with, multiple screens directly when you choose the kind of data source that you're going to use. Right. So once I create a Canvas app, how do I make it use? The app has to be shared and we have to run the app. So it is accessible in mobiles, tablets, and there are certain areas where the Canvas app will not run. So we will see the limitations quite later after the demo points. Okay, so what are the data sources that Canvas app can talk to? So in general, the Power Apps can't be used to create a connected data source. So what does this mean that I cannot create a connected data source? So whatever data I want to show, I have n number of connectors available, but I have to make sure that I record all the data sources as a connection first. Then I create an app. So I will use these data source connections, what I have already created. So this will help me. The moment the data is updated in the external data sources, I always have to just refresh the connection and my latest data is available for use. Once I have the data loaded from the connections, we perform a number of manipulations or sometimes directly use the data. So the app helps us to have a good UI. We could build custom forms, add the standard forms or galleries, and then visualize those data. So this need not be just a Canvas app. We could embed Power BI. We could build, model-driven apps. So this is all up to our choice. Okay. So is it only limited to the connected data sources like Dataverse, SharePoint list, or any external sources? No, not certainly. If I want to target some local data sources. So for example, you would have seen there are n number of sample apps which Canvas app is already providing. The moment you enable Canvas app in your mobile, you will see lot of out of the box apps which is available, and you will wonder where those data is all coming in, and because you cannot reuse those data also. So they are all using local data source called collections. So we will see how to add data to collection and how collections are helpful in the demo part, right? Okay, so here I have taken one typical example. So the collection has a collect, clear, collect, all those options. So it is very simple. You just put the function name, be it collect or clear collect, define a name for your collection, start adding the the columns as well as the column values. Okay, every time you use clear connect, what it will do is it will recreate the collection. For example, first time I have used this, it will now remove this product. The second time when whatever new product I add, it will keep on clearing and adding the data. That is why the name as the name goes, it is clear correct. Okay. So this collections are useful only when we see that we are going to use internal data and we don't want any external data to be shown. A kind of demo setup or a kind of internal training purposes. In those scenarios, this collections will be very helpful. So I move on to data sources. So when do I go for external data sources? I mean, as the name says, when I want to bring my external data and build an app to visualize those data, I make sure that I have enough connectors available. So I could use a Microsoft list. I could use SharePoint Online. So I could store my data all in any of the external platforms, create a connection, and then bring the data to the apps. So the connection makes the information available to the app. So how does this app internally work? So the app internally, what it does at the background is it will have a kind of temporary table or a kind of collection by reserving all those data from the connection and holding on to this data. So that's why you might have noticed if the external data changes, sometimes you have to refresh the data source for the data to reflect on your Canvas apps. Okay, so we will see how to, after getting a pool of data into the data source, how do we make use of the data and bring some visualizations during the demo part. Okay, as I was talking about collections, so what all actions could be done on collections? I will be able to add data, remove data, save and reload data in the kind of option set, static option sets. So all these things are possible using the collections. So then after doing all this, bringing data, what is the next action that we do? So we trigger some automation logics. So we will trigger some Microsoft flows using the Power Automate connection from Canvas app. We will call the flows. We will do data manipulations, either show it back on the Canvas app or take it to the external storage and reserve those data there. So what all actions are possible when I use the Power Automate? So it is a two-way communication. Sometimes I will be able to retrieve data from Power Automate and display in Canvas app. Or sometimes, based on the need, I will be able to post data from the Canvas app to a Power Automate. So the step is very simple. Add a trigger point button or an image control which has a select or click event. So then we will simply add an action, trigger a Power Automate. So map a flow which we have to, whatever action needs to be performed, map the flow accordingly or create an entirely new flow and directly associate it. Then if it has a return values, we will use some set variables within the Canvas app to temporarily, hold those values and pass it on to the UI controls. This way we will be able to display the results from the Power Automate. Okay. So now, yeah, we have seen how do we, get data onto the Canvas app. First of all, why we go for Canvas app? So Canvas app, as I repeatedly say, it is a 2D app because it is not yet available for us to, use in a 3D visualization or HoloLens, even though they have minimal controls that could be added. So it is very easy to use. There is no data driven approach. You could choose your own data driven approach, when you're creating the app. So the user experience is very, very intuitive. And it is a low code platform, so it is very useful. As I have already said, if you have the basic knowledge of Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, then you're good to start your Canvas app. So you can be creative because it allows you to create n number of apps based on your need, whatever, be it simple user form submission or be it order summary or gallery visualization. You can be as creative as possible because it is all a drag and drop control. So it will facilitate you to visualize and change your app very quickly. Okay, so the next is, I mean, we don't the end user or the user who is working on Canvas app, he need not be exposed to entire set of data. So the data can be, task based or role based applications can be built where you have specific access to data. Okay. Okay, so now let me switch directly to the demo part. Okay, so I've already have my, make.powerapps.com open. So let me quickly start from the beginning. So let me save all my open works. Okay. Okay, I start fresh from home. So when you're in make.powerapps.com, so this is the layout which is very familiar to all of us. So I come on to the app section where the list of apps, be it out of box or the apps which we personally create in the specific environment will get listed. So I go to home. So as I said, we could build, applications very fast. So here you can see that we have a blank app creation, or we could start directly from the data source if we know what would be the data source that we are going to use. So out of the box, we have Dataverse, SharePoint, Excel, SQL to readily start with, or you can, even train yourself and, start creating the apps. Okay, so let me just show the more creation options here. You see that, out of box, Microsoft also helps you to, uh, decide on what kind of apps you want to build. There are n number of, out of the box apps which is available. So it gives you an idea of how you have to design your form, or what all ways the form design is possible. All those ideas can be generated from these templates. So you could also start from the template. Okay. Yeah. So just have a look whenever you want to build a kind of gallery or form or whatever layout. I think all the existing components, they covered the templates to, accommodate all the existing components. Okay, so let me, what we will do, we will try to create an app in all possible ways so that by end of the session, we are all familiar in creating a Canvas app, adding some controls and triggering a Power Automate from this Canvas app. So let me quickly hit on Dataverse. Okay, so as I said, the Power Apps works with the connection. We have to pre-decide what our connection is going to be. So either I use from one of the existing connections or I hit a new connection. You can see the variety of connection options that is available. So for demo, let us go with Dataverse. So when I choose Dataverse and hit on create, all the tables that is created in Dataverse will be accessible for us to choose. So let me stick on to accounts. Okay, whenever I choose the control directly, we have chosen while creation of app, we have chosen the Dataverse as an option. So what is the best benefit of choosing the control directly is you get this 3-screen structure. So you get a browse screen, you get a detail screen, you get a edit screen. So this helps us in, if the structure is going to be standard, you don't have to spend your energy in, designing this screen. So they give you the, screen structure, readily available. So here you see when I have the browse screen, if I have existing data, automatically the visualization is also available here. You can see the browse galleries available and a set of predefined actions of, what is the basic sort functionality. Everything is there already. So if I want to see the data, I could directly run it. You can see that, there are some data available here on selection of an individual item as well. So how are they doing it? So why do they do this actually? Because when I know that, account is an out of box entity, I will be seeing list of account data. I don't want to waste my time in, redesigning this. So if you see here, the text, everything is very simple. They have, the set of controls to which we have to map the values. We will be choosing a text. The text is the one which will be holding the value that is shown on this item. So this item dot address one dot city. When I choose each and individual item, so this is how I have to update the values. So in case I want to see a different value here instead of address one city, I can simply remove this. You can see all the available fields will be readily existing here to use. City. Let me show the country here. Okay, you can see it is immediately reflecting. You see it is immediately reflecting. The syntax is, very easy. That is why they call it as low code, and even, anybody can start developing it. OK, so the other, good benefit of this low code platform is the syntax by name. You will be able to understand it. See, sort by columns, search for accounts. What is the, text control? See the way the, controls are aligned. So and if you have to sort it with account number, and the sorting is, descending or ascending. So all these options are, listed directly here. OK, so now Without saving this, I move out, or let me, we have seen the browse part to it. So let me see how do I, enable addition to it. Okay. So here you can see that, in the edit screen, if I want to make any update, I will be able to add new fields as well here in case. You see this data source option, which is mapped onto accounts and fields. If I go and click on edit fields, I have this add field here. So if I want to edit more fields from the list of existing fields, I can choose any of the available data. So let me choose a simple description field. Okay. Yeah, the simple description field is available for me to edit now. Okay. So now I don't want to save this because this is just to understand the default structure. So let us go and choose a different data source. Okay, so the structure is going to be similar. Let us see how the SharePoint works. Okay, so I hit on new connection. Let us search for SharePoint. Okay, so in case you have an on-premise SharePoint, that also is accessible here. So today I have a cloud version of SharePoint. Let me quickly create it. Okay, so I've recently used this. If I haven't recently used this or I want to go for a different SharePoint list, I can simply copy paste the URL and I can, paste it here. So let me use the same one. Okay, so these are the lists which we could pick up and use it for today. So let me use user details demo. Okay, so you see here that the data is readily available. So let me run this. So the list of values are available from this list. So if I want to edit some values, okay, the data is immediately updated. So if I go to the SharePoint list, okay. Yeah, Alka demo is updated and you can see that user ID is also updated here. Okay. So you can see that, the basic sorting within the list, all these things are available out of the box. So to add new data, these are the basic, things which I have not spent any, energy in designing all these things. Simply we have, dragged and dropped and we are able to get the gallery views. So I won't repeat the same for SQL because it is exactly the same. The data will be updated back to the Excel sheet or SQL if I go with the the app creation from these connectors. So now we will target to create a blank app. We will choose variety of data sources. So whenever I create a blank app, so it will ask me a format, whether you want to create a tablet format or phone format. So now I will simply name my app as demo app. So whether I want to choose a form or a gallery. So if I am not sure whether I want to go with the form or gallery, let me simply skip the step for now. So what we will do, we will add some simple text controls. We will see how to add some simple text controls here. So you see this insert option, right? So when I click on this insert, I will be able to add media controls, text controls, labels, everything. Okay, so let me have a very, very simple label. Then I will have a simple button. Let me call it as, we will write a simple Power Automate flow and bring the data and show it here. Okay. So let me call it as my app. So you can see that the properties of this font, everything is, we will be able to update it in the particular control. I have chosen a label. Under the properties of this label, I will be able to decide which font it has to, use, what would be the font size, what should be the font weight. All of these things can be designed here. Okay, now let me add a button. So let me rename. Now I will add one more label to show the IP value. Okay, let us clear this. Okay, so I have a button. Now on click of this button, it has to call a Power Automate. So for this, we should associate a Power Automate here. So I go to actions. I click on Power Automate. So if you want to create a new flow and associate, I go here. So if there are any existing flows that is already available in the system, I click on add flow. So here I have a flow already. So let me choose that. OK, so let me edit and show you what this flow actually does. OK, this is a very simple flow where we choose the Power Apps as trigger. So from the Power Apps, I'm calling a simple HTTP. I'm passing the URI. So this URI is to get the IP address of the current machine where I am executing this control. So then I am taking a simple parson JSON just to take the return value of this IP from the HTTP output. This I will be passing back to respond to Power App or a flow. I will be using this step and I will be assigning this value to a variable. OK, so this value we will be binding back to the Canvas app. Right. So let me go back. I think I lost my app. Let me recreate it, not a problem. So I'm repeating my insert action. OK, so let me add one more label to get the value. Now we will add a button control. Okay, so I trigger my action again for Power Automate. I'm going to use my existing flow. So what we will be doing on select of this. So we will be calling the flow.run. Okay, so before that I will be, setting, let me set a value. Okay, that's it. So when I do the flow name dot run, so it is returning me the variable which is holding the value. So this value I will be assigning it to a temporary variable, and this temporary variable's value we will be assigning it to this text value. Okay, IP. Okay, so let me try to run this. Okay, it is executing my flow and it is returning the value here. So this is a simple step to understand how do we, invoke a Power Automate within the Canvas app. Okay, so let me save this. So we are going to come back to this whenever, we have some questions. Okay. So as a next step, what we will do now, we will create a we will try to use Dataverse. So for this, we will create a table. So I have already created a table. Let me show a simple profile detail table that I had created. Okay. Yeah. So in this table, I have created some of the custom, columns. So just to accommodate different kinds of values to be added to the database, I have created an email field, phone number field, a description text field, and then, file control, profile doc, and image control. So we will see how do we, instead of using direct, controls, we will see how do we patch data to this table. We will use a patch query here. Right. So now let me go to apps. So let me open the app which I had created already. Let's give it a minute. Okay, here we are. So here you can see that, I have created a simple, Canvas app with the screen. I have added some text controls and text input controls here, just to, facilitate the user to fill in the values. And on submit action, so I have I have made some, null checks. Post that I am doing a patch operation. So we will see how this is done. Okay. Okay. So here, this is nothing but a media control. So insert in media, we will see the file or upload control, right? So I have used pretty much the same. Yeah, this add picture control is what I have used. Okay, so now let me expand my patch query on the submit action. So here I am just checking for each and every field if it is null when I hit the submit, and I will notify that this is a mandatory field. So I've used couple of notification types. You can see that, just check is blank, notify field is mandatory, and give a type whether how would the notification appear, what would be the notification type. OK, so after performing the null checks, I'm starting my patch action. So in patch, so I'm calling the table to which I have to patch the data. So for this profile details to appear here, I have to make sure my data source is already updated here. So in the Canvas app, I come and add my data source profile details. Then I will start with the patch operation. So I call my data source to which I am going to patch data from the screen. So then I default it to the particular data source. So here I will open a set bracket. I will start pushing the column name and value, column name and value. For the name field, I'm adding, input one's value, email ID, I'm adding the value. So when it comes to this data card, the value addition is in two ways, because when I upload a file, it will have a name as well as the file itself. So it will be data card value attachments name and data card value attachments value. OK. So let me run this quickly. OK, so let me submit. Yeah, the data is created. So here I think I did not clear this control. Yeah, let us do a reset to that as well. Unable to clear it. OK, let me leave it for now. So we'll come back to this in a minute. OK, now that I have submitted, I want to check if my data is created. So we are going to see the form as well as we will check if the data is available here. OK. OK, I see that my data is created. OK, so email ID, phone number are available here, and I could see data is created successfully. I've done some wrong mappings. We will correct that. So the text inputs values are wrong. So if I will see here, the text control used is text input 1-2. So let me first clear the error. Okay, text input 1. Okay, email ID is mapped correctly. Now phone number. Okay, let me see what is mapped onto phone number. So the phone number control is text input 1-3. Okay. So let us save this new change and execute again. Okay, yeah, data is created successfully. I go back to my table. Yeah, demo is created successfully.
Hi, it looks as though we've lost Devi's connection, so she will try joining us again. If you just give her a few more minutes for her to join. Thank you very much. It seems though Devi's connection has been disconnected, so we're just going to wait a couple of minutes just to allow her to reconnect. So there's a question. Yep, sessions are in GMT as mentioned across the website, on the emails. They're all in GMT, correct? Yeah. So let's take a look at some of these questions in the chat whilst we wait. Thank you, Ram. So Ram has confirmed Devi is joining again. Joining back in. Yep, so Adrian was asking, in the dev environment, you can use any of the premium connectors. Is that a question or an answer? Abraham is asking for the patch formula. Okay, let's try again. Let's see if we can add her back in as a presenter. I think she's joined again. Let's try and add her back in. So Van is asking about recordings. I know that's probably the most popular question. This is a boot camp. So we've said it clearly on all the emails that have been going out to everyone that this is a live only event. So you do need to attend live to learn. So we can't guarantee that the recordings will be available. We do have a YouTube channel. At some point, they may go on the YouTube channel, but for now, we're focusing on delivering this live bootcamp so that everyone can benefit over the next 3 days and walk away of having learned, going from zero to hero with becoming a Power Apps developer, in short. So that's why we're focusing on everyone to attend the live sessions and attend, take notes and attend like it's a live event. That's what we're advising everyone to do. Speakers have been sharing their links to their slides as well in the chat. So we'll remind them to do that in case you want to have access to the slides. But we recommend everyone to join this event as a boot camp, as it is. It's a boot camp for you to focus and learn and try things out yourself and interact. So Devi is just trying to connect back in. She's got a connection back. She's just trying to connect back in now. Thanks for sharing the link, Anthony. So what Anthony shared is the link to the gallery, the Power Apps gallery. There are galleries out there you can use. We will be sharing those information throughout the course of this event. Okay, looks as Devi's back. 1 second. No. Okay. Devi is back. She's online. That's the great news. So at least she's got her internet back and she is back online. We're just trying to get her back on the Teams channel now. Okay, only 5 minutes left for Devi to finish. I do believe she's covered most of her content, but I know she'll have a lot more information and a synopsis to cover some factors and tips. So let's get Devi to conclude. So whilst we wait for Devi, is there any questions in relation to the data sources? So Devi's session was primarily focused on setting up data sources for Canvas apps. Right, okay. So since there's only 5 more minutes, what we may do is move on to the next session. And then if we get some time, we can get Devi to conclude on her session. I know there were a few questions in relation to some of the queries. Oh, there we are. Devi's back. Devi is back, guys. Just need to add her back in. Hi there, Devi. We can see you. We can see you. So we're going to add you back in. There you are.
Right. So sorry, team.
Thank you, Devi. Yeah, look, it's out of your control. That's the nature of technology. So thanks. It's great to have you back. There's only 5 more minutes left, Devi. So if you could focus on concluding your session and sharing any important information in relation to where you were last at, that'd be fantastic.
Yes, I will do that, Raj. So I believe you were able to see the patch queries and the profile app submission which I had made. I mean, I have covered Power Automate. Post that, I have used a patch query to update values back to the database. So I had one last part to show, which is, again in the flows, I will show you how do I, take data from a SharePoint list and update back to another SharePoint list. So I will make sure I cover things in next 5 minutes. Right?
Great.
Okay, so my session is opening up.
That's great, Devi, and we can maybe give you an extra 5 minutes if you really need that, so please don't worry.
Sure. Thanks so much, Raz. Okay, so let me reload everything. Okay, so I believe my patch query was shown. I saw one of the chats where they wanted me to show the patch query again. So here you go. Okay, I am going to load my SharePoint and I will quickly load my flows as well to show this. Okay, I come out of my profile app. So let me get on to my flows. While the flow is loading, I will go back to my SharePoint. Okay, so I am in my demo site. Okay, so here I have multiple lists created. So we have seen that how do I connect to user details demo, and we updated the values as well here. So now I will quickly try to show a flow to access data. Okay, so I have already created a flow. Let me quickly edit this and show you. Okay, so we have the triggers when an item is created under SharePoint. We can trigger it on item created or modified. Choose the site address. So once the site address is chosen, under this, we can use the list name. So we have added values to the user details demo earlier. So I also have it open. So we have multiple values here. So what we will do whenever an value is getting added to this user details demo list. So I will be, pushing the contact email and user ID to the user contact list here. Okay. So this is what we are going to do in this Power Automate flow. Okay. So I am here. So every time when I create or modify a value in this list, so I will be creating a new item. So in this new item, so the list name I provide is my user contact list. So I'm going to map the values title, user ID, and user email from the previous step. Okay, so let me show you. So insert parameters from previous step. So I simply use this. User ID and user email are already mapped. So I simply save this. Okay. So how do I test this? I directly, update my values in user details demo. Let me try to add a new value. Okay. Yeah, this flow would have now triggered. So I'll keep the run history open. And in the meantime, I will also go to my user contact list to see additional data is created or not. Okay. Okay, so let me test this also once here manually. Test, create a record. Yeah, you can see that Power Demo is already created. So let me stop my test. Okay, so this flow now that we have created this flow, you can see that it got executed 45 milliseconds back. So apart from creation, creating this flow and consuming it directly in Power Automate, we could have a Canvas app, use that Canvas app form to have the user details value to edit or modify. And in that time also, this flow will automatically get triggered because we have called this flow on item creation or modification in the SharePoint list. Okay, so with this, I conclude. So let me take back to see if I have covered all the scenarios of data sources. Yes, we have seen collection. We have seen how to create a blank app and use a patch query. We have seen Dataverse. We have seen SharePoint, and we have also seen consuming Power Automate from within. Yeah, sorry for the network interruption. So can I extend for 2-3 minutes and park for questions?
Sure, you can, definitely, yeah. So
Yeah.
we've got a couple of questions. I think the main question was in relation to relating tables.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a quick look. So we'll only have time for a couple of questions, guys. So let's take a look now. Where are the questions? If you've got a question, please put your hand up. But the last questions I can see here.
I will want one of you to read the question
Here
for
we
me,
go.
Raj.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you explain how to set relations within tables like one-to-one, one-to-many by Pandey?
Yeah, I can show it. Okay, here you go, the relationship section. From here, you can add a new relationship. So you can add one to many or many to many, many to one, and start proceeding. Choose the table with you which you want to add the relation. So if I say account, so what would be the field, and you can simply click on done. The relationship will get created. I hope this helps.
Okay, any other questions? Any other questions before we hand over now to the next session? Okay, so if there's any other questions, just leave it in the chat, and if Devi gets a chance, she will answer the question from there. There is one question we'll take before we hand over from Devi by Vamshi. Okay, so Teresa just asked this question: what is the best data source for the best solution? So I guess let's agree that that's the last question for Devi, because it's quite a good question when to decide which data source to use. So Teresa is asking, what is the best data source for the best solution? I know it's a very open-ended question, Devi, but I think it's worth just having a bash at it because I think it's very important.
Yes, Raj. So yeah, when to choose which data source, it purely depends on the business problem that we are handling in. For example, if it is only to show the data to the end user, for example, if it is, let me take a very simple example of displaying the product catalog or a menu catalog. So in that scenarios, it could be the choice of data could be a SharePoint list, or the choice of list could be an Excel sheet or a collection. But if we feel that it is going to be a complex data, I mean it involves additional levels of security in terms of access, and we have to push back the manipulated data back to that complex external data source. In that scenario, we have to make sure we take a right call of the external data source that we are going to add, which is going to be the, I mean ideally the Dataverse, I would say, is the best choice considering the security it provides. But if it is, if the data has to sit outside Dataverse, then we have to choose the external data source connector. But for
Well,
all
thank
of
you
this,
once again.
yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Devi. So we're at the end of the time now. So I want to thank you again, Devi, and for getting through that technical challenge. That's really good. So feel free to keep in touch with Devi. She's doing lots of great work in the community. You'll be able to catch Devi again at the next bootcamp, at the
Yes.
Dynamics 365 bootcamp. So huge thank you, Devi. Is a very important feature of building a Power App is connecting to the data sources, which you've covered today. So big thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Okay, Devi. So now we need like to introduce the next speaker, and it's none other than Chandra. Hello there, Chandra.